I'm now going to explain to you how to open up your chart station on NetDania. Now what I want to do is, first of all, make sure that we sign in correctly and make our own username. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on sign in over here. We go to new user, where we fill in all of our information. Now I'm going to type in my information, so my first name is Marshall, and we're going to have our last name, and I'm going to send this to a test user. You have to obviously enter in your own email address. Just going to confirm that again. And obviously enter in the password that you want to have on NetDania. Don't forget to remember this password, because a lot of the times my clients forget their password and they ask me how to do this. I want to make sure that you have your chart station ready in front of you when we get to work. Okay, now I'm going to select the country that I'm in. And you agree to the terms and conditions, obviously. Go to create user. Okay, now over here we're going to have a registration complete message, and we have to go to our email address in order for us to see that. So I'm just going to go to my email address. Just hold on one moment. Okay, now we can see that we have the information, the email that was sent to us. This is the registration email, and what we can do is we click over here, exactly where it says click here, and we move straight to the web page. Now it says your account has registered successfully. Excellent. So we can go and sign in, and then what we're going to do over here is sign in on our user. So it's test user. Obviously you're going to enter in your own username, and you want to click on remember me next time. That way whenever you sign out, when you come back to the web page, it'll automatically sign you back in. Now when you want to look at the chart station, this is the charts that we're going to be working with. Okay, we don't want to go to the finance charts, we want to go to the chart station. That way we can set ourselves up with a chart station which we can toggle between the charts on our chart station and the charts on Optech. And the importance is that we're going to have in front of us the charts at all times, so that we can always have an immediate trade that we want to be able to place. Now we always want a variety of trades, so we're going to go to charts, and then we're going to click on chart station on the side. So I'm just going to show that to you again. Click on charts. You go to the bottom over here, you can see on the left hand side we have tabs over here, and you click on chart station. And now it's going to open this up. Okay, excellent. So right now we have a basic format. It has no charts involved. So what we want to do is have a general setup for our chart station, and I'm going to teach you right now how to make that general setup, so that when you come to your charts you know exactly which trades to place where, and that's very important so that you can be organized when it comes to trading. Okay, so we're going to close everything off, and what we're going to do right now is add a format to our charts, so that automatically when we're opening up the charts we don't have to redo everything. Now we're going to enlarge the charts, and we're going to go to settings, click on chart over there, and then what we do is we go to time scale, We change this to 15 minutes. We're going to click on add over there. And now we type in RSI. Now RSI is a relative strength index. This is one of the indicators that we're going to be using on the charts. Okay, well now we have our RSI placed onto the charts, and we're going to add another indicator. This is going to be the stochastic. Okay, now obviously I'm going to add for each period, it's going to be 8, 3, and 3. And we're going to want to change the color coordination for the format so that it's going to be good for the eye to see. And we're going to click on blue in the middle. Okay, click OK over there. And we press OK. Now we have our indicators already set up, and we can apply this to the charts and press OK. Now, what I want to do is set up a original setup so that you can look through the charts, and you can look through it from the Japanese index, which is going to be our charts in order for us to find which is the strongest and weakest currencies on the market, and our other assets. So we want to be able to have this first so that we can have a general outlook on the charts and know exactly which is the strongest and weakest, and then we can have a look at the rest of the assets and have some sort of organization behind it. This doesn't mean that you can't add to the charts. It means that over here what you can do is you can place your charts and have your chart station ready, and you can always refer to your charts automatically by clicking on one of the tabs. Now let me open this up for you so you can get this as an example. So over here we're going to add all of our Japanese yen charts, USD against the Japanese yen, and we're going to add the GBP against the Japanese yen, AUD against the Japanese yen, CAD against the Japanese yen, NZD against the Japanese yen, and the euro against the Japanese yen. We're going to as well have the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. So every time I wanted to click on a chart and find a chart, I went to instruments and look for the chart that I was looking for, obviously. Now, when I want to find a chart that's not inside the instruments, we're going to click on search for instrument, and I'm going to find the chart that's appropriate, which is going to be Turkish lira against the Japanese yen. Okay, now we have 8 pairs in front of us. We're going to set them up so that everything is facing us on the screen. So we're going to click on window over here, tile vertical, and everything's going to be set up in front of our screen. That way we don't need to have a couple of screens to look at. You know, obviously it's always preferable, but we have all the screens in front of us, so we can always toggle between them if we see a change in the market or a movement in one chart and we want to be able to see what that movement is. Okay, so we're going to save this and call this the Japanese index. Okay, now we have the Japanese index, and we're going to open up another chart. So right next to the Japanese index, we're going to double click, and we can type over here the euro. Now these are the rest of the currencies that I'm adding. So we're going to add every single currency which is against the euro. So you're going to have the euro USD, and we're going to have the euro GBP, the euro CAD, the euro Swiss franc, and we don't need the Japanese yen. Remember, all the Japanese yens are in the Japanese index, so we don't need them. So we're going to go to euro AUD, and again we click on window, and then we click on tile vertical to organize all the charts. Okay, so you should have a basic setup looking something like this. Save it, and we double click next to it again. Now we're going to have AUD. Okay, we go to our charts again, we search for the pairs that we want to be able to place, which is going to be AUD against the US dollar. We're going to have AUD against the NZD, AUD Swiss franc, and AUD against the CAD. So remember, we have the AUD, USD, AUD, NZD, AUD, Swiss franc, and AUD against the CAD, and we're going to tile this vertically. Excellent. Now we can move on to the GBP, and we're going to have two charts over here. Remember, you can always add more charts. This is just the basic setup that you're going to have. GBP against the USD, and the GBP against the Swiss franc. I'm going to click on tile vertical again, and we're going to save the charts. Again, double click next to the tabs, and we're going to have our final currency that we're going to have as a tab, and this is going to be the US dollar against the Swiss franc, and the USD against the CAD. Okay, remember, window and tile vertical. And save after every single time you've already arranged all the charts. Now we have all our currencies. If you can notice over here on the left hand side, we have the Japanese index, we have the Euro, we have the AUD, we have the GBP, and we have the USD. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to having our commodities. So the commodities we want to have are going to be the main basic commodities and the general trades that have been placed on the platform. So we're going to want to have gold, silver, and crude. Over here we can see WTI crude, and this is going to be our crude oil. Now remember that when you're looking on the platform itself, you'll notice that the gold and the silver will be referred to as something else. You'll see that it'll be XAU USD, which is going to be the gold, and XAG USD, which is the silver. Okay, don't get confused between the two, because XAG is going to be silver and not gold. I want to save this. Now we have our setup for our currencies and our commodities. Okay, now we can have indices and we can have our stocks. Now I tend to work more with currencies and commodities, so I'm going to set up a couple of charts with indices and stocks, but in general obviously you want to be able to work around your market time. Okay, so if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, or if you're in Australia, you know, wherever you are, it's all dependent on which market time you're using. So obviously then you're going to be placing the trades on a different indice. So let's click on indices over here. I'm going to be looking at the European market. Obviously I'm here in England, so I'm going to open up CAC, and I would search for it in the bottom, type in CAC. We're going to have the CAC 40, and as well I can have the DAX. Two indices that I want. You know, if I don't find any trades on my currencies, I'm going to always look at the indices that are showing me a lot of opportunity, and I can place a couple of trades on them. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to move on to my stocks. Now, in general, you want to have any stock that you can place on charts. Make sure that they're on the platform. Okay. A lot of people, they tend to place a lot of stocks that they have in their own countries, and they're not on the platform. Make sure that they're on the platform first. That way you can relate to the stocks that we have on the platform. Now, just going to place general stocks that I'm using. Facebook, obviously you're aware of this, and we can have Apple, it's a very widespread, wide used stock, and that'll be enough for my stocks. Okay, click on tile vertical, and everything's set up. We can just save that. Now, if you notice over here, everything's set up according to my assets. So if I want to look at a currency and I want to be able to look at the euro, I just click on euro and I can see automatically which currency I want to be able to choose. So if I'm looking for a trade for the euro USD, open up the euro USD and I can look at my indicators and relate to my chart, obviously place my support and resistance and my trend lines, which I'm going to be teaching you a little bit later in another couple of lessons. Okay, so that's all for now, and this is how you build your own chart station.